For 2010, Hyundai continues their assault against Toyota and Honda, this time putting their gun sights on the CR-V and the RAV4 with their new Tucson crossover vehicle. This is going to come in two different flavors, a GLS and a limited model, and those will both be available in either front drive or all-wheel drive. Now, in the redesign, they focused on body stiffness to assist in the reduction of noise, vibration, and harshness, sometimes known as NVH, in industry speak. And for the most part, they did a pretty good job with it. Driving the vehicle along all the great roads that we have here in southeastern Michigan, which are riddled with bomb craters that we call potholes, it was quite good. And we'll get to some more of that here in just a second. They also spent a lot of time refining the aero package, and they said they worked especially on the A-pillars, around the wheels, the lower body opening, and then they put a functional rear spoiler on the vehicle to help clean up their back end part of the airflow. And for the most part, wind noise is pretty good in the car, although we did hear maybe a little more than what we should off the top of the A-pillars. Now, maybe it was something in our vehicle, but we asked a couple of the other journalists and analysts who were on the drive with us, and they all noticed kind of the same thing. But all in all, they did a pretty solid job with that. The motor in this vehicle is their new Theta 2, which is an inline four-cylinder engine, and it has 176 horsepower at 6,000 RPMs and 170 units of torque at 4,000 RPMs. Now, one of the things we were worried about when we got the briefing before the drive was with the torque peak that high, how would that affect the driving? And it was about what we expected. Below 3,500, we wouldn't call the motor breathless, but it was lacking just a little bit. However, once you got north of 3,500 RPMs, it had really good power and was very enjoyable once you got up in up higher in the RPM band. But do most people drive that high RPM? I don't know. So maybe it'll be interesting to see what the average person thinks about the driving experience with the power curves where they are. The motor is a good motor, no buzziness, no harshness, no weird vibrations coming out of it. The exhaust note was maybe a little bit louder than we expected it to be, but it did give it sort of a sportiness to it. So not objectionable, but again, given the type of person who's going to buy the vehicle, we're not sure whether that matches up real well. Now, about the actual handling, the handling of that thing was phenomenal. It was, I'm not going to call it sports car-like, but it was almost sports car-like. The few twisties that we do have here in southeast Michigan, it gobbled them up nicely. I mean, it really went after them, stuck nice to the road, no howling tires. Certainly could have gone much faster than we did. We were trying not to attract too much attention from the local constabulary. So, but really, really surprised at how well the vehicle handled. Now, the trade-off is, especially in the all-wheel drive model that we had, while we would not call the ride harsh or abrupt, it was very firm and maybe just a tad firmer than maybe it should be. And I think most people would trade off a little bit softer ride, maybe giving up a little bit of handling just for that little bit finer balance. Now, if you live in a different area where your roads aren't littered with holes like bombshells that we have in southeast Michigan, may not bother you at all, may not even be an issue, but we're just saying that was a little bit of our experience. Mileage in this thing is going to be pretty good, right around maybe a little above class estimates here. So 23 is what they're saying in the city, 31 on the highway, 26 on a combined cycle. There is a 6-speed manual available. We applaud Hyundai for doing that, although we know there's going to be about 5 people in total who buy the manual. They also have a 6-speed dual-clutch automatic transmission, DSG, as some of you know it. No flappy paddles on this, but they do have a manual control in the floor shifter so that you can go up and down. We didn't really play with that so much, but we do have good things to say about the automatic in this. It was nice, it was crisp, clean, not hunting for gears, but it wasn't an abrupt, it wasn't so sharp that it was abrupt. Really, really excellent job with the transmission here in this Tucson. On the technology side, interior, where a lot of people are concentrating now, they've done a pretty good job with the package here. You can get a 6.5-inch touchscreen with sat nav. and a big 360, well, I can't call it big, but it's a 360 watt stereo system with the subwoofer. You can get Bluetooth in it, and the nice thing about their Bluetooth integration is it has voice activation, and you are able to download your cell phone contacts into the system. So you can say, call, so and so at work, or call so and so at home, and it will recognize that and dial the number for you. So we think that's a very well done job. Other things that Hyundai was talking about and really pushing was they're saying that they have a best-in-class interior, and we thought it was a very good interior, though one area they could have really made a big difference is having soft touch material on the dash. It's $10 worth of material, and I think that really would have set it apart. As it is, it's just hard plastic on the dash, which is sort of normal in that. The rest of the interior, though, fit and finish was very good. A little bit of puckering on the leatherette material, or leatherette material, whatever they're using there on their seats or on the top corners of the seats, but nothing really objectionable. And you really had to, we were looking for things to find to come up with that. The car is on sale now. It's going to start at $18,995 for a front-wheel drive GLS kind of base, but it does come with some pretty good standard features. If you're going to get the all-wheel drive and load it up, you're going to be about 29 grand on that, maybe a little bit north, just depending if you check every single box on it. Visibility in the car is good. You can get they've got a panoramic sunroof, no blocking, no big C pillars or D pillars on this thing to block your vision. Great visibility all around, and Hyundai's really coming up on Toyota and Honda very hard. I mean, those guys have got to be looking in their mirrors and seeing this thing getting larger and larger in the rearview mirror every single day. I think Nissan is sort of looking out the side window at this point and saying Hyundai go right by them. Hyundai keep hitting them. I'm not going to say out of the park, but they're hitting solid doubles and triples all day long. They're providing great value for money, and the 2010 Tucson is just another example of Hyundai executing much better than their Far Eastern compatriots.